So I'm going to show you how to use JavaScript in an interesting way to create some riffs that you typically see in electronic music. In this example, I'm using psychedelic trance music, and what we're going to create somewhat sounds like this. Yeah, so the riff that you heard in this track, which is just a silent patch, some default patch that I'm using, it's played from this channel. I've added a stutter effect just for a little bit of extra zing to the riff that we create, but we don't need it at this point. Same about these two MIDI clips, we don't need them, and we don't even need this. So this is just a kick, a bass, I got it from some sample pack, and a set of drums. This is how it sounds without the riff. Yeah, and I have this effects over here. Okay, and at the same time, I have a project set up over here on the side. This is VS Code, and I have put together a folder called How To. I've already installed ScribbleTune. So I've just done this npm I ScribbleTune I for install. ScribbleTune is a JavaScript library that I created for generating MIDI files using JavaScript strings and arrays. It has now gone beyond that original goal of just creating MIDI files. Now you can use ScribbleTune in the browser as well as in Max for Live. But for this tutorial, we are just going to use it to create MIDI files. And I'm going to create a JavaScript file called riff.js, and maybe I'll open it over here. Riff.js, it doesn't have anything at the moment, so let's just quickly bring in ScribbleTune. I typically call the variable that I instantiate ScribbleTune on as scribble. That's what I'm doing here again. Now we have ScribbleTune inside this JavaScript file. So what I'm going to do is, before I write a script, I want to show you how to do this without a script. And this is a pretty common technique that people do or people use while creating electronic dance music. It's not something new or certainly not something original, but this is what they do. So they start off with a 16 beat kind of a bar, and then they randomly click on notes like this. So I'm not really particular as to where I'm clicking. I'm just randomly clicking anywhere. Let me expand this a little bit. So I have this A note going on like this. Maybe I'll just move it one octave up. And then if I play it out just the way it is, yeah, so it sounds kind of decent. And then what you do is, all these missing notes over here, you just create another note for them like this. And now you play that again. To make it interesting, you take the root note or the bass note that you wanted and cut it into half like this, and then play that again. And then you can pretty much do anything from there, like, just move around these notes a little bit. I'm just sticking to the white notes. You could decide a scale that you want to stick to, and you could move into that scale, or you could even drag in the scale MIDI effect of Ableton Live and keep on playing with white notes, but stick to a scale with the MIDI device. I just used white notes over here, so let's see how that sounds. So this is that technique that I want to do with JavaScript. And quite honestly, you don't need JavaScript. You could have just kept on working like this, kept on creating riffs like this. But the thing is, you can imagine that if you're just randomly clicking notes around and then moving the other notes again randomly, why can't you just do it with a script? Why can't we just use JavaScript to do that random bit? And then you can just focus on the creative aspect of music, or even the sound engineering aspect of music, like, you want to shape this sound or whatever. And at the same time, if you write a script, it can generate like potentially hundreds and thousands of riffs that you can sample a few out of and use that as a starting point for your riff. So without further ado, let's try to create this similar thing, just this thing that we did by just pointing and clicking on this base note and then these alternate notes and just moving them around randomly with JavaScript. So I'm going to remove this clip obviously and head back to my project over here. Since I've already imported ScribbleTune, I'm just going to make use of that, and I'm going to use the MIDI method of ScribbleTune. So the MIDI method of ScribbleTune accepts a clip. So let's create a clip. Or how about we call it clip A, because we might create another clip to concatenate with it. And then ScribbleTune has a method called clip within itself for creating these clips. And you could have very well put this scribble.clip right inside over here. But I just want to separate these concerns so that I can show you what I'm doing. So a clip is a container of a musical idea. And at a very basic, it takes a notes parameter. And since we were playing in the key of A, we'll use A3 because Ableton Live is going to put that down by an octave. So this A3 is going to translate to A2 once you bring it to Ableton Live. It has nothing to do with ScribbleTune. It's just the way Ableton Live treats the middle C. And that's kind of digressing, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But I'm going to create the second parameter of this object called pattern, and I'm going to create a pattern. You know, I was randomly selecting these notes in the 16-beat bar. So let's assume that we have a 16th note, a bar separated by 16 notes. And to do that, we just set the subdiv property of ScribbleTune to be 16 notes, because by default it is a quarter note. And let's say that each time we type a X, we are selecting a 16th note in that bar, and every time we type a minus, we are not selecting it. We are kind of letting it go. So I'm just randomly kind of, you know, putting together something till it becomes like 16. Let me see how many have I got now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I just need one more. Maybe I will do something like this. So now I have these, I have this bar of 16th notes where each X signifies a note on event and each minus signifies a note off event. So this is the pattern language of ScribbleTune really. It is a very small pattern language, and this X and this minus signify a note on and a note off events. So let's see how this sounds, okay? So let's just take this clip A and stick it in here. And here I'm going to use NodeMon instead of Node to kind of keep generating this. So this has generated a file called music.mid, if you can see that over here. Let me zoom in a bit. So it has created a MIDI file called music.mid. You could have given it a specific name, but if you don't give it a name, it's going to default to music.mid. Heading back to Ableton Live, let's go to our how-to folder, and there we can see this music.mid file. Let's drag it in. If we double click it, as you can see, now we have a very similar looking riff which we created at the beginning of this video. So if I play that out, yeah. And now I want to go a step further and create those random notes that we were just clicking around, right? So for random notes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another method from ScribbleTune called scale. And maybe I'll go for a Phrygian mode, okay? Because Psytrance music, from what I've understood, uses a lot of Phrygian mode. So what I've done is now I have a root note of A3 which will transpose down to A2 when it comes inside Ableton Live, and maybe here we can go A4, like one octave up. So it's going to select these random notes and stick them inside this minuses. So to signify that we want to use a random note instead of a note off event, all we need to do is just change every minus to a R. R stands for random, and the ScribbleTune pattern language recognizes that as a random note. Just doing this will create a very basic riff which uses the A note as a root and the notes from a A4 Phrygian scale as the R notes, like the random notes. So let's just try that out. As you can see, it's kind of put together this little riff. It's our second version of the riff that we created at the beginning of this video. Let's play that out. What we need to now do is kind of cut these notes into half like we did earlier. So to do that, I'm going to create a little bit of a difference over here. Like, so for example, I'm just going to augment these aspect of the pattern language of ScribbleTune, which is the square braces. The square braces just subdivide an existing pattern. So if each So if our X note was 16th note long each, a square brace will subdivide it. So if I had put two of these, now these are two 32-second notes in the space of 16 notes. But I wanted it just like cut off over there and then have a note off after it. So I'm just going to augment the path like this for each X. Like that. And then back into Ableton Live, I bring back this music.mid. As you can see now, it has kind of subdivided those notes and left the other note just the way they were. And obviously those notes have changed from the previous version of this MIDI file simply because it's randomly pulling out those notes from that A Phrygian scale. So let's play that out. So I'm not so fond of that. All I need to do is just hit save over here so that it can generate a new music file, a new music.mid file, excuse me for that, and then pull that in. Okay, so this one is not that bad, but what I would like to do is I would like to repeat this particular riff like maybe 3 times, and then the 4th time I would like to change it a bit. I would like to leave it just the way it is, like the root note is A and the random notes are from A Phrygian, but I would like to create a little bit of a variation on the 4th bar. So let's try that. So since we created this clip A, which generates this clip, scribble.clip, we'll create 2 of these. Okay, as simple as this. And then we will use destructuring to use clip A 3 times and then finally clip B. So now I have created this array out of clip A 3 times and clip B only once. So let's see how that sounds. So now we have a much bigger clip. It has like 4 bars already. And if you play that out, yeah, that's already sounding good. But maybe we can just hit save one more time and create one more MIDI clip like this. And either we can drag on top of this or another one so that we can preserve the first one and then A/B test both of them. So that's pretty much it. And now what we can do is we can just keep on, we can just add some optimization to the script. It's pretty small, as you can see. We can make it even smaller, of course, but we can add some optimizations to it so that we can get a new riff every time. So the first optimization I want to add is I want to create a function called getClip, because this is pretty much the same thing, right? I don't want to keep duplicating stuff. So I'm going to create this method called getClip, and all it does is it just returns a new clip. Okay, in fact we can even go and do this. So this get clip is now returning a clip. So this get clip, we're just gonna move it up over here, and then this clip A, we're just gonna use get clip to get the clip instead of defining it explicitly. And the same thing we're gonna do for clip B. So technically we've got two new clips. We are just using them in a particular fashion to create a riff. If I save it, we are not going to get much of a big difference. It's pretty much the same, but at least now we have a method that does that for us and we're not duplicating code. I'm just creating it one more time. Yeah, it sounds good. Okay, so now why do we just use this particular pattern every time, right? So even if you have some randomization going on, we're going to get the same pattern every time. So I want to create a method that kind of changes this pattern each time. So let's do that. I'm going to create a method called getPattern. All it does is it returns a pattern. Okay, and let's say that pattern is ptn is equal to an empty string. We'll do a for loop that goes over maybe 8 times, and this can be obviously made dynamic by passing an input over here, like you accept an input, something like this, like count, and we can set its default value to 8, and we can start it like this, and we can use that count over here and then increment I like this. For each iteration we can just increment this pattern like this, pattern plus is equal to, and we can randomly decide between, so we are just, this is like doing a dice kind of a thing, like boolean yes or no kind of a thing, true or false, randomly deciding true or false, and based on that we're gonna do either this, or we can just move R like this. So each time this loop runs is going to randomly decide if it's going to stick in a subdivided X with an R into this pattern, or a random note and then a subdivided X inside this pattern. And now we have a pattern, so we'll just return it. My keyboard is funky, so please forgive me for that. And now we'll use this method over here. Instead of setting a pattern which is constant, we'll get a dynamic pattern each time. The only problem with this is this clip A and clip B will now get different patterns. So what we can do is we can create a variable called pattern, and we can set get pattern to that variable, and then we'll just use this pattern as the default. Yeah, so now we'll have a same pattern for each of these clips, but each time a different pattern will be created. And if we want, we can even console this pattern out just to see what it looks like. So look at that. When I generate a new MIDI file, this pattern is what is getting generated. If I hit save again, a slightly different pattern has got created. So let's head over to Ableton Live and see how that sounds. Let's do it one more time. Yeah. Now the only thing left to do is probably make this a bit dynamic, right? Like, why do we stick to Phrygian and why do we stick to A4? While we can just send that information from here, like this, root note and scale, or we can call it mode. Okay. And then in here, we'll use this mode, and in here, we'll use the root, so that we can get some root note like this. And we can set some defaults for it. Let's say the default is A3, A. The octave is not dynamic at the moment, but as you can imagine, you can make that dynamic as well. And here we'll take, by default, let's take harmonic minor for a change. And you can use, like, there are hundreds of scales available in ScribbleTune via Tonal.js, so you can use any one of those. And then the last thing is to use the root note here. And now we have a getClip method that accepts a mode as well as a root note. So you can change the key of your riff or the mode or the scale of your riff, and it can sound different. So let's see how this sounds, because we've now changed from Phrygian to harmonic minor. If I pull that in, or maybe we can have something like Phrygian dominant. What the hell, right? We can go for any scale we want now. And you're not limited to this, you can create these AB parts not just like this, but how about, let's call it, first of all, let's rename this clip to just A and B. So instead of clip A, let's just call it clip just A, and then clip B just B. And then maybe let's create a C as well, right? Let's create a C, and we'll concatenate this like A, B, A, and C. Okay, and let's see how that sounds. And you can keep on generating that. Yeah, so that's about it. I mean, that's the end of it. And I have created a Max for Life plugin that does this bit for you. And you don't necessarily need to write JavaScript. But as you can imagine, once you make something into a plugin, you start limiting the options that you can, you start limiting the things that you can do with a script. For example, you cannot generate that riff just the way you want. You know, you're dependent on the author of that plugin. For that matter, it's me in this case. Just the way I have decided to put this clip, this pattern method over here, this get pattern. This is my idea, right? Let me put it like this. But what if you had a different idea? You wanted to construct your pattern in a different way. You can do those kind of things only with scripts. So it's so if you're not keen on writing JavaScript or doing all this business, you can just use my Max for Life device, and I'll post the link to that device in the description of this video. Or I would encourage you to just try this out. You know, JavaScript is very easy. If not anything, you can just pick up a new skill. And discover a new way of creating these riffs. Have some fun, you know. It's an interesting way in my opinion. So do give it a shot, do try it out. It's not a very long script. And I will leave some information on how you can install Node.js on your system in case you don't already have that. So that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll leave this playing for a bit so that it sounds like a nice little ending to this video. Thank you for watching.